this theory that I've kind of started to work with in the last couple of years, ever since I started doing drive home reviews. I heard it once on another critic's channel, and it was one of those things that I heard, and the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. And that is that movies happen when we need them to. Not necessarily when they're planned to, but when we as the audience need them to. So, like a lot of movies that I've talked about, this film was, of course, scheduled to come out last year, and, things happen. And I think that if it had come out last year, as it was planned to, it would, at least in my mind, it would be just another quaint little, little community comes together, finds its hope again, blah, 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 blah. But I think coming out now, after a year and a half of lockdown and quarantine and God knows what else, and we're now starting to try to put the world back together, hopefully into a better shape than it was when we left it, I feel like a lot of the themes of this film, of community, of coming together, of a shared point of hope, I feel like these things make more sense and are more poignant now than it would have been when it came out. Like, watching this film, it did exactly what it was meant to do. It really gave you that rise, that feeling that made you want to sit up straight, or made you want to go take a chance, or made you want to live some crazy dream because it gave you hope that it could happen. And that's what this film would have done. And again, if it had come out last year, I think it would have been a cute film. It would have been a decent little movie. But I definitely felt, I can't speak for anyone else, but I definitely felt like I was seeing this movie when I needed to see it. So, take that for what it's worth. So, you may have heard of this film last year before everything got shut down, or you may not have. So if you haven't, let's recap. So, in this little Welsh town, a lot of folks are pretty poor off, and this one woman, Jan, whose husband is unemployed, used to work on a farm, or wanted to work on a farm, whatever. She's just kind of a little fed up with just the mundanity of life, working at the local shop, working at the local pub, and all of this. And she gets it into her head that she and a bunch of the members of the town should go in together and back a racehorse. And so she gets all these people together. She gets somebody with experience, and they breed a racehorse, and it grows and races, and it becomes an underdog. You've seen a sports movie. You know how these things go. So this film is in the grand tradition of European movies about down-on-their-luck folk doing bizarre things to suddenly turn their fortunes around. The film this most reminds me of is The Full Monty. As I'm watching it, that's the film that I am comparing it to, both in the positive and in the negative. Because in both of those movies, you have a group of folks who are down on their luck, who are looking for some kind of hope, looking for some kind of spark of life, and get it in a very unique place. In The Full Monty, it's these steel workers who don't have the bodies to be strippers suddenly deciding they want to be strippers. And here it's a small, poor little Welsh town deciding they're going to try to compete in the sport of kings, literally. What I like about both of these in this weird little subgenre of European films, I like how in both instances there's next to no thought or debating process that goes into it. In both instances, they're like, hey, let's be strippers. And the other guy's like, oh, okay, let's do that then. And the same with this film. She just decides, I'm gonna breed a racehorse. It's in this instance, it's not like the character has no experience. She's an animal trainer. She's had great experience in competing animals of various kinds. So she's got some knowledge, and her husband, again, wanted to work on a farm, so he's good with animals. So again, it's not as out of place as it was in the Full Monty, but it's just funny that in both instances, it's like one day this idea just happened, and they went, okay, we're doing this, and literally off to the races we go. So let's talk about the good, because there's just a lot. The movie is just incredibly charming. It has what a lot of those, I'm going to use the blanket term British. I know they're Welsh, they're not British, so I'm not trying. I'm just using a blanket term here. These British films, UK films, European movies, whatever you want to call them, of this nature, always have this very nice atmosphere to them. Just a very calming atmosphere. I can only imagine how beautiful some of these countrysides actually are, just from the way they're photographed, because they look amazing, even when the town is dingy and dirty and not very well off. The cinematography always makes these places look so picturesque, like you're looking at the back of a postcard nonstop. So there is a wonderful atmosphere created by the cinematography. The film is just very hopeful. It is very upbeat. And again, I think mainly because of when it's happening, when it's coming out, it really does give you that nice warm feeling you have of being part of a community again, of being a part of a group of people with a common goal or common interests. It's one of the things that I missed the most about going to the movies during this time, was even though sometimes seeing a movie, with other people in the theater is maddening because they don't shut up or they don't turn off their cell phones or whatever, you can't deny that there's a shared communal experience there. And this film really made you yearn for that again, and showed you the positive sides of that. There's also just something this is so American to say, and I'm sorry. There's something very soothing about the dialogue and the dialects, the various mixes in there. It's very sing-songy, and therefore it's very soothing almost. I know that's terrible to say, probably. That's probably racist in some way, but it is. I love all the actors and the way they talk. Some excellent performances in this. Honestly, I think the best performance in this one, and I do not know the actor's real name, I cannot remember, but he is best known to me for playing Sir Alistair Thorne in Game of Thrones. If you don't remember which one he was the dickweed at Castle Black who always had it in for Jon Snow and actually led the rebellion against him, where they all stabbed him in the heart. And it's always funny when you see an actor who you best know for playing a villain or an antagonist, especially one that you just out and out hate and could not wait for them to kill. And then you see this person in another film, in another role, in something the complete polar opposite of that role, and you're just like, oh wow, he is just the loveliest man in this, just the loveliest teddy bear of a man throughout this film. And he was probably my favorite character in the movie. I really enjoyed him. He was just this big, cuddly, toothless, looked like a George R.R. Martin pirate. If George R.R. Martin was a sailor, it's what he looked like. It's what Sir Alistair Thorne looked like in this movie. But just a lovely character, and just a really, really sweet guy that I think made every scene he was in. I also have to say that this film did what it's supposed to do, in that it made me, as an audience member, invested in the horse race scenes, like really invested. Like, I found myself, as you're watching it, doing things like, come on, Dream, come on, Drew. It's a fucking movie. This isn't like watching a real life horse race where you've bet money. This is, this is predetermined. This is wrestling here, but I don't know, just the people, the characters in the film were very invested in him, in the horse, not just in a monetary way, but they'd attached so much of their egos to this horse's success. You as an audience member do the same thing, and now you are invested in the horse's success. When a terrible accident happens, you are invested in the outcome. And that's what a movie like this is supposed to do. So I know it sounds dumb for praising a movie for doing what it's supposed to do. It's like praising a student because they turn their homework in on time. That's what you're supposed to do. Yay, I praise the actor because they learned their lines. That's their job. So the movie, but when you know how badly other movies have botched this, when when one student's turning in their homework and the rest of the class is not, they should be praised. When one actor is off book before anybody else, they should be praised. Yes, it's doing its job, but it means they did it extremely well and went above and beyond the call of duty. And I feel that's kind of the feeling I had watching the racing scenes in this movie. It was really, like I said, you were really, really connected to it. That is not to say that the film is flawless. The film does have a couple of issues. And it's mainly due to the characterizations. One thing, in order to afford this horse, our main character, Jan, starts, again, a syndicate, a group of people who all put in about 10 pounds a week to, raise money for the horse and all of that and all the expenses. So the syndicate is populated by a hodgepodge of colorful town folk and some investment guys that one of the other characters works with. And the problem is that a lot of these characters are there, but you have no idea who they are, really. You have no idea why they are invested in this. What made them go along with this plan in the first place? What do they have to gain or lose? We see it with Jan, we see it with, her husband, Sir Alistair Thorne, and we see it with the other character, Howard, who is a tax accountant who used to own a horse with another syndicate and then lost everything and almost lost his wife and his house. And so he's kind of been knocked on his ass and he's taking a chance here. You see it with those three characters. But you really don't get a sense of what's in it for the rest of them outside of just the monetary gain. They're fun characters and they add flavor to the film. But in terms of who they are and what they have on the line here, you really don't have an idea. Now, again, I compare this film to The Full Monty. In that film, yes, Robert Carlyle and Mark Andy were our main characters. They were the ones who were pushing for it. They were the driving force. They were our protagonists. But we still understood what the other characters had to gain or lose. We understood why they were doing this, why they needed the confidence boost, and how they came out better in the end. Now, to be fair, there's 10 other characters in this syndicate, so, giving them all equal screen time and giving them each a character arc is difficult. This isn't a Marvel film. These people all didn't get individual films to establish themselves before this one came out. So I get that's part of the issue here. But still, I would have liked to have known who some of these other characters were outside of their basic character trait of the old drunk one, the grumpy bar owner, the overly researched and pompous city clerk or whatever he was, the silly old woman. I would have liked to have known who these characters are. And that kind of leads me to the other issue I had with this film, and that is its main character, Jan. Now, Jan is the driving force. She's the one that takes it upon herself to research all this. She gets everybody together. She makes it happen. She is our main character. The problem I have, and it took me a little while watching this to kind of put my finger on it, is that Jan is not an incredibly likable character. She's not a bad character. But in terms of her, she clearly loves the horse. She treats the horse like a son, almost. And we understand why she is so connected to the horse. You know, she says that, you know, it's the first time she feels like she's herself and not defined by another person. This is something she did, and she did it on her own. So I get her character arc. But in her relationship to other people, there is a coldness in the character. Almost a sense of superiority. Like, just the way she looks at them, just the way she kind of looks around the town, which it was supposed to communicate to us her discontent, but it just makes her look like she's got this, you know, her nose a little bit up in the air, like she's better than the rest of them. I don't know if that's just my reading of the character, but it makes it very hard when she is kind of our point of view character, because there's just certain aspects to the way she reacts to other people that, I don't know, just seems very cold to me, very icy. So that made it very difficult to connect with her. That being said, now again, this is a nitpick, basically, because on the whole, the movie is very good, and the movie is very uplifting, and the movie is very warm and fun, and, you know, I think this film is best summarized by the end credits, when all of the actors are in a pub, along with some of the people of whom the movie is actually based on, because this is one of those, you know, inspired by our true stories. And they're all there, and they're all singing karaoke together. That's the end credits, is everybody in the bar just having a sing-song. And that kind of embodies, for me, the spirit of the movie. It's this fun, communal experience that you do with other people, and you have fun doing with other people. And I really enjoyed that, and I liked the movie as a whole. So these are merely nitpicks, what I'm bringing up. I had a good time with this. It's a little long in places, but it doesn't drag like other British films I've seen. It clops along at a pretty good pace. There are other minor little things, like sometimes it seems like Jan has a telekinetic relationship with the horse. There's a subplot about her and her father not getting along that kind of comes and goes out of nowhere and doesn't seem to have the emotional punch that I think the film wanted it to have. But again, these are quibbles. These are minor things that keep this from being a perfect film, as opposed to a pretty good one. And sometimes, especially right now, sometimes pretty good is pretty damn good. So I enjoyed this. However, we do have to talk real quick before I final grade. We need to talk about names. You know, the names of films matter, people. They really, really do. So this one, Dream Horse. The horse's name is Dream Alliance, because it's their dream and they were an alliance, you know, a syndicate. So why was the film not called Dream Alliance? Not only is it the name of the horse, but it is the metaphor for the, you know, the community feel. Why Dream Horse? I don't understand that. You had a perfect name that worked on multiple levels in the name of the horse. So what's up with that? You know, I was very impressed with the name of Here Today, which seems like a simplistic name, but when you watch the film, you see that it works on multiple levels, not just in the, you know, kind of joking way of, you know, here today, gone tomorrow, but also as it relates to the character's dementia and the loss of his memories. And he keeps saying, I'm here today, when he's having a good day. You know, it fits. It makes thematic sense. that just bugged me. I don't know why, Dream Horse as opposed to Dream Alliance. What the fuck? Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. So final grade for Dream Horse. I'm going to B+ on this one. The characters and the thematic elements, the tightness of the directing, really made it a warm experience. Some of the character stuff dropped it down out of the upper echelon, but, sometimes you just need a movie that's going to make you feel good. And I'd be lying if I said this movie didn't make me feel good. I had a good time. It's going out of the theater, so it's probably going to be on demand at some point or streaming. Find it and check it out. I fully endorse it. All right, so there we have it. We've had a couple of great days at the movies. Probably going to put a pin in that for a little while. But it feels good to be back in the theaters again. It feels good to be doing these right after again. It felt good to share these movies with Becca and the girls a few days ago with Cruella, and I'm looking forward to doing more of that and sharing it with other people. And I'm very happy to be sharing these with you all. So for everybody who watches these and has stuck with us through quarantine, thank you very much. It's great to be back, and we've got more coming. So stick with us. We'll stick with you. Be safe, and as always, drive safe. And I will see you at the movies.